We need to do something now because there is sufficient help out there. There was once a time when testing positive gave little hope. Today, the earlier you know, the faster you can get help. I personally think getting tested for HIV is a smart thing to do. What do you think? But many people refuse to get tested. Some find the idea of getting tested too frightening. I'm sure a lot of us do. I used to myself. Even though they will often continue to agonize about whether they are infected. Others think of testing as unnecessary and hold on to the belief that HIV can't happen to them. And I'm sure that's what we all think. It can't happen to us. For the mere fact that we know that I don't engage in any sexual activities that will cause me to have AIDS, we are confident that it won't happen to me. I used to think like that, but you never know. And it's best for you to go for that test. And sometimes you're not going for the test for yourself. You're going for the test so somebody can be encouraged that because you did the test. Because I heard this story when, I think last year, when Barack Obama was at a church in the state commemorating World AIDS Day. And he and his team went for the test. And afterwards, the testimony was that a lot of people felt it was nothing to go for the test. It was good for them to also go because the president did that. So you never know who you'll be encouraging if you took the lead to just go for the test. It doesn't mean that you feel you have it. But for somebody in your family, for somebody to just know that you have, that would spark the confidence in the person knowing. And that will be the person's break and help that will be much needed. I'm sure you agree with me. Let me encourage somebody here today with this profound Bible story of the woman with the issue of blood that broke all odds to get her healing. This story is found in the Gospel of St. Luke chapter 8, verse 43 to 51. The woman whose name is never given had suffered from hemorrhage for 12 years. The Bible tells us she had spent all her money on physicians and never got any healing. It may seem like a very little thing for a person to reach out and touch Jesus, but this was an accomplishment worthy of our admiration. Let me point out some of the obstacles which were in this woman's way, and those are the similar obstacles are in the way of people who have HIV. One, there was the obstacle of her ceremonial uncleanness. As defined by the Old Testament law, the book of Leviticus clearly identifies this woman's condition as one which made her unclean, and therefore should have restricted her to her own home. Two, there was also the obstacle of a large crowd, which was pressing forcefully upon Jesus. Luke tells us that as Jesus was on his way, the crowds also almost crushed him. It was therefore no easy task for anyone to get through to Jesus. This is confirmed in verse 19, when we are told that now Jesus' mother and brothers came to see him, but they were not able to get near him because of the crowd. Thirdly, the woman had to work her way through this uncooperative crowd in her weakened condition. It might have been relatively easier for a woman who was in a top physical condition to get through the crowd, but not this weak woman. suffering from prolonged illness, which had gotten progressively worse, leaving her in a poor condition. Getting out of bed in the morning may have been a major undertaking for her, let alone fighting her way through a crowd. Finally, it is clear that in St. Luke's account, the woman desired not to be identified. This is seen in verse 47, after Jesus asked the question, "Who touched me?" Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. By this woman's story, I want to appeal to everyone here that our family members, friends, maybe our children, or more so, people in our communities, must be supported and encouraged to go and have themselves checked, and to also dare out to seek help if they have already acquired HIV. We do not have to make people feel morally unclean, and we do not need to be like the uncooperative large crowd that made it difficult for this woman, saturating around their effort and pursuit to seek help. A negative attitude on our part will only create a web of humiliation, disgrace, and shame. Let us also understand that, like this woman, the idea of "I might have already contracted HIV" puts the victims in a much weakened condition or position in society to fight for their health, and ultimately breaking their silence to seek for help. This is why we need to understand what this campaign is all about, so we can be there for one another. By Jesus asking the question of "Who touched me?", he was encouraging the woman to know that when it comes to your health, you cannot desire not to be anonymous. You must make people see what happened to you, what steps you took to correct it, and thereby becoming a compass for others to follow. These are the attitudes that we need to build our communities, families, friends, raise our children, and sustain our jobs. Our continuity as healthy people will thrive by these principles. In conclusion, my faith also tells me that it is not a sin to be sick. This is where I want especially those of us who go to church to understand it. It's not a sin to be sick. If somebody is ill, it's no sin. Forget about what gave the person the illness. It's no sin to be ill. If anybody is ill, the person needs attention, the person needs help. The Bible tells me that God sent his only Son into the world to heal the sick and comfort the weary, to feed the hungry and clothe the naked, to befriend the outcast and redeem those who stray from righteousness. I believe it must start from all of us who do not have it or have not taken our tests yet. We need to understand that unwillingness to take an HIV test means that more people are diagnosed late when the virus has already progressed to AIDS, making treatment less effective and causing early death. I would also like to say that our church, Adonai International Ministries, of which I am the Sheffield branch pastor, is equally open to offer help in any way we can to help anybody who seeks advice. And we will signpost you to agencies who will also be of tremendous help to you if you so require. We are also here to help break this silence. Our prayer is that we may provide a supportive network to encourage a lifestyle which promotes truth, understanding, integrity of health, and accountability. Let us all arise and do something. A positive test result gives you the chance to keep ahead of the virus. And a negative test result gives you the opportunity to stay that way. You can win against HIV/AIDS today if we all agree to break the silence. And I'm sure you all agree with me. Thank you very much.